So let's take an example of Amazon. There are a lot of underlying AI ML algorithms which are running behind the scenes. Few years back, I read about this concept of a personal board of directors. So which means that you should be surrounded by a number of different people who are very different to you. Eventually moved into AI ML products, which is what I do today.
But now when the Gen Z is joining this corporate world, they have so much guidance around and they're very clear in their thought what exactly they want to do in their lives.
I'm a big fan of Agatha Christie. I've read all 80 novels which she wrote. And right now my daughter is reading all of them, right?
Hello everyone. Welcome to Wisdom Whispers with Abhishek Mittal. बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. ये वाला थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट है. डेटा एनालिटिक्स पे हमने ऑलरेडी बात करी है. But we will be talking about AI ML products today, right? First of all, we all have seen Gemini, ChatGPT. These are AI ML products, right? आज इन्हीं के बारे में और डिस्कशन करेंगे कि करियर बनाना हो AI ML के प्रोडक्ट्स में तो क्या क्या करना चाहिए और कैसे अपना करियर को ग्रो करना चाहिए इस फील्ड में. To have a discussion on this, we have Neeraj Gyani with us. So he has more than 2 decades of experience in multiple areas. He started with business research, he moves to consulting, then he moves to AI ML products, and he has worked across different industries. So, and outside of work, the one thing which he loves doing is he loves reading murder mysteries, and we will talk about that in the later half of the show. But we will surely talk about that. So let's welcome Neeraj to the show. Hi Neeraj, welcome to the show.
Hi Abhishek, thanks for having me here. It's really a pleasure to meet again after such a long time.
Yeah, great to have you Neeraj, and thanks again for joining us. Neeraj, जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया राइट, हम AI ML के प्रोडक्ट्स पे बात करेंगे. आपका करियर पूरा उसी पे है लास्ट लॉट ऑफ ईयर्स से. एंड बिफोर वी गेट देयर, वुड लाइक टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आपने अपनी करियर जर्नी कैसे शुरू करी, आप क्या कर रहे हैं अभी, एंड क्या चल रहा है.
So after I graduated from IIFT, I started working with Wipro Technologies for a year in Chennai. So मैं चेन्नई गया. Then I came back to Delhi and joined eValueServe. I worked across business research and consulting and made a pivot into data science within eValueServe before joining Dunnhumby, where I have been here for around 12 years.
Oh.
And I've done a variety of roles across different retailers across the globe. So I started in pure play analytics in Dunnhumby and then eventually moved into AI ML products, which is what I do today.
So now जब हम AI ML प्रोडक्ट्स की बात करते हैं तो कुछ ही यूज़ केसेस हम लोगों ने सबने देखे हैं, राइट. एक यूज़ केसेस जो मैंने स्टार्टिंग में भी डिस्कस किया, जेमिनाई और चैट जीपीटी, एंड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अदर प्रोडक्ट्स एज वेल. तो इसका इवोल्यूशन कैसे हो रहा है और अभी किस फेज़ में है हम, क्योंकि अभी तक हम डेटा एनालिटिक्स की बात करते थे जहाँ पे हम प्रेडिक्टिव मॉडलिंग की बात कर रहे थे टू एनालाइज द डेटा, बट नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोडक्ट्स जिसके पीछे AI ML चल रहा है, बट आगे प्रोडक्ट्स है जो हमारे यूजर इंटरफेस है. तो वो क्या इवोल्यूशन कैसे रहा?
Right. I think this has been an interesting journey. So when I started working in my career, a lot of analytics and data science, the way traditionally data scientists would look at it, it's all about doing basic analysis, doing insights, and then doing predictive models, right? But increasingly, the value of AI and ML is being embedded more into products than pure play services and insights. So let's take an example of Amazon. Amazon pay a lot of personalization, which you see. There are a lot of underlying AI ML algorithms which are running behind the scenes.
Yes.
But the value is being clearly realized through a product which is front facing to the customers. So essentially the market is really moving towards realizing the value of AI and ML through products, be it let's say Google search, be it ChatGPT or the traditional AI ML algorithm. So that's the way it's evolving as we see it today.
ग्रेट. तो जब आपने स्टार्ट किया अपना करियर इस फील्ड में तो एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या थी, क्योंकि आपने जैसे कहा पिवट किया, you pivot from a business research into analytics, and then now when someone is joining new into this field, because lot of people right now, engineers, they want to get into this field because naturally एक एंथू है उन लोगों में कुछ करने का, एंड दिस इज एन ग्रोइंग फील्ड एज वेल. हर किसी को जो चीज़ ग्रो कर रही होती है उसमें घुसना होता है, नेचुरली दिस इज अ फ्यूचर ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एज वेल. सो आपकी क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी जब आपने ज्वाइन किया और आज क्या एक्सपेक्टेशंस है?
So when I had started joining, I think the focus was typically on just knowing the technical stuff and algorithms and basic analysis, and that's how you enter. Right? And उस समय the most prominent language was SAS.
Yes.
And now the market has completely moved towards open source languages like Python, PySpark. So that's how the expectations have really changed. I think increasingly the world is getting so complex in the world of AI and ML that it's really really hard for anyone to keep a tab of everything which is going around, right?
Yes.
So the expectations have definitely increased. It's very interesting, right? I see job posts which say couple of years of experience with generative AI, which is impossible, right? And I think people are trying to learn quite a lot of things, but again the world is very very complex and fragmented right now. So the technical expectations and the expectations of the business and commercial side, that is clearly increasing much more than when I entered the industry.
Okay. So अब जैसे बहुत सारे young professionals हैं who are getting into this field. So there are a lot of, as you said, like there is a lot of different languages which they need to understand, Python, ParkSpy, and there are a lot of open platforms which are available. Outside of this, when they're joining, what else they should focus on to get into this field?
I think increasingly when we are going to campuses to hire, I think what we are looking for is basic problem solving skills.
Okay.
So the ability to take a problem, break it down into multiple components, and then solve them in a structured manner. That's basic one thing which I'm definitely looking at when hiring people, right? And the technical skills, core skills could be learned on the job.
Yes.
But the basic aptitude and the ability to solve problems is something which is definitely we would expect someone to bring in. The other thing is softer skills, like ability to tell stories, ability to communicate effectively. Those are really really important. So if you have the raw ingredients, I think the corporates have the horsepower to transform that into meaningful technical skills and combine that with the skills you have to make a meaningful impact. But essentially I'm not expecting someone to be hardcore technical unless I'm hiring someone laterally.
Okay. So it means जब start कर रहे हैं तो एक अगेन आई थिंक हम लोगों ने ये बहुत बार बात भी करी है कि एक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग जो है वो बहुत प्राइमरली इट्स अ कंसल्टिंग एरिया. सो यदि प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग नहीं होगी तो आप एंटर नहीं कर पाओगे. सो यू रियली हैव टू learn that skill set or maybe practice that skill set so that you can easily enter into this field along with the technical skills which you said absolutely required. But naturally we don't expect them to start building certain models or certain products from the day one, and that's what corporate will help them doing it. What are the different career paths in this AI ML space, if you can throw some light on that?
Yeah. So I'll start talking about the traditional paths which have existed for a while, and then we'll talk about the new areas जो अब आ रहे हैं, given the landscape is changing. So from a traditional path perspective, people start as data analysts, right? So they are primarily into managing data. Then there is hardcore insights and storytelling kind of a role, which is more required to understand that given a large volume of data, how do you create insights? How do you understand what are the key underlying trends? And then there is a machine learning data science landscape where someone is expected to build predictive models, which is a bit more technical.
Yeah.
Right. As the industry matures and as the value gets realized more and more through products, machine learning engineers, I think that's one path which is really coming in.
Okay.
And a lot of software engineers are trying to get into that space as well, given the huge demand supply mismatch in that area. So that's one. And then you would hear things like prompt engineers and other things, which are new job families which are appearing.
Okay.
But yeah, those would be the typical career paths in terms of thinking about data analysis, basic data analysis, insights and storytelling, building machine learning algorithms, and then putting them in production using ML engineers.
And what is this prompt analytics?
So prompt engineering is the art of when you start talking to chatbots and other tools like Gemini and OpenAI tools.
Yeah.
How do you craft the prompts? Right? When how you ask the questions, that influences quite a bit in terms of the kind of responses you get. So the art of framing the right prompts leading to the right answers is something which is coming up quite a bit. I hear a lot about it in the industry today.
No, now I can think about it, because on a normal daily basis हम इतने सारे chatbot के साथ connect करते हैं. आप यदि बैंक की वेबसाइट पे जा रहे हो या एयरलाइन की वेबसाइट पे जा रहे हो, दे टॉक अबाउट, दे गिव यू सम प्रॉम्प्ट्स कि आपको क्या समझना क्या है, आपका क्वेरी क्या है. Now I can relate back, yes, there must be some engineers who are doing that as well. So good field. Next question which comes into my mind is, Neeraj, we are talking about it's a dynamic landscape and so much changing, and now we are talking about Gen AI. So what are the 2-3 things which will remain consistent or constant in Gen AI जो कि चलती आ रही हैं?
No, that's a great question, Abhishek. I think chasing what is changing is a fairly moving target.
Yes.
So instead, if you take a contrarian view and focus on what is not going to change, I think that's a more saner approach to look at this changing industry landscape. So in my view, I think ability to clearly link the value of generative AI to business outcomes is not going to change. That has
Right.
always been true for any technology,
Yes.
and that would always be true for generative AI as well. That's one, right? I think what will also not change is the ability to create frictionless customer experiences, especially when you are talking about outward facing, customer facing applications. That will not change. So what is happening today is that every day a new model is coming up with different parameters and everyone is chasing, right, this model is better than that.
Yes.
But what we don't know is, are the customers able to differentiate between the outcome of one model versus the other? So if you look at it outside in, I think it's all about what customers need and are you able to reshape their experiences meaningfully using generative AI. That's not going to change. Secondly, I think businesses always focus on being more efficient and more productive.
Right.
So the other kind of applications in generative AI are more inward facing. So for example, how do we become more efficient? So for example, if given a big data set, can generative AI glean insights which would have taken a number of data analysts and data scientists to do it? We are not there yet, but I believe कि वो होगा future में जाके, right? So those are the kind of things which are not going to change. So just to summarize, right, clear linkage to value and meaningfully reshaping customer experiences, that's not going to change.
Okay, that's good to know. एक आपने और चीज पे टच बेस किया था, सॉफ्ट स्किल्स, राइट? हमने स्टार्टिंग में बोला एप्टीट्यूड, एटीट्यूड, राइट? व्हेन यू आर हायरिंग पीपल एंड बट व्हेन यू आर इनटू द कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड, नाउ द सॉफ्टर स्किल्स प्लेज अ वेरी बिग रोल बिकॉज naturally you are not working alone. You're working in a team environment, you're working in a company environment, corporate environment. So what are the top 2-3 skills, soft skills, which you think that it's very urgent or very important, not urgent, but very important for our listeners?
So especially in the industry, AI ML industry, I think what I really see people struggling with is when you're talking to business stakeholders, right? They don't understand the technical language.
Right.
So your ability to translate the technical terms into simple terms which the business can understand, I think that's very, very important. So I have seen data scientists who would do the most fanciest of the algorithms, but when you put them in a meeting with the business stakeholder, I think you're talking apples and oranges. They will not be able to communicate well with each other. So I think that's really, really important. I think ability to structure your analysis in such a manner where you're talking about the top 2-3 pain points and how are you solving for them, rather than giving too much details which the stakeholders are not able to understand. So that's second. Third, as the rules become more and more cross-functional, so essentially on any given day, if you're talking to your clients, you're talking to internal stakeholders, you're talking to engineering teams, product teams, your ability to work across the ecosystem and influence. Right. Because not everyone is reporting into you in the organization. People are in different teams. Working through influence rather than working through authority, that becomes really, really important and something to pay attention to.
Okay, good to know. So you have learned so much over the last years. If you have to give guidance to all of us, that what you might have missed at the start of your career in your journey in this area, if they can pick up those areas and from learnings from your journey.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think things always look clearer in retrospect.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's all about connecting the dots.
Yeah.
So I think being curious and looking at a problem from multiple areas rather than just being focused on one specific area or project you have been put into, I think that's really, really important. So essentially, in a AI ML project or a product, right, it all starts from data, then it's analysis, then it's modeling, and then it's activation via product or whatever shape and form the organization wants it to surface. I think the ability to understand the whole value chain and dig deeper, right? So increasingly we talk about T-shaped careers where at the top you have a lot of breadth, but then you go deep into one of the areas. What I've seen people do is they as they get more and more senior, I think the curiosity and the learning orientation goes down. And I think keeping that up is really, really important in a fast changing field. If you stay static, then you're not going to be massively successful in the longer run. So always continuously learning, relearning, and ability to look at a problem from multiple elements across the value chain. I think that's really, really important.
Okay, nice. That's good to know. These skills, I think, these learnings are very important for all of us, because when we started our careers, naturally we had something else in our mind, and as you like, and the other thing is like our guidance was very limited. But now when the Gen Z is joining this corporate world, they have so much guidance around, and they're very clear in their thought what exactly they want to do in their lives, right? For them, it's very important कि अच्छा हम learnings क्या है हमारे seniors की, and how we can get a good kickstart in their career. And thanks a lot. I think that's a very important fact about this interesting discussion, that we can share so many stories about us, our journey, that there are a lot of people who can learn and who can pick up from that. Neeraj, one last question before we close this section. If you have to change one thing, going back of 23, 22 years old of old self of yours, what will be that one thing?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Abhishek. I think the ability to take a lot of chances, right, and be bold about the choices you make and explore a lot more of the world. And again, I think this generation, which is upcoming now, has a lot more opportunities. The field is really diversified and grown. But I think if there's one thing I would change, I would be more bold in terms of taking some bets and experimenting rather than just going a straightforward path. I think that's what I would like to change.
Great. Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks for so much insights around this topic. We'll close this section here and we will move to the next section, which is more of unwind. And we will try not to talk about data analytics and AI/ML products. We'll talk more about you. Starting वहीं से करते हैं कि as I have introduced you कि you read a lot of murder mysteries. So what's an exciting part about that?
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of Agatha Christie. I've read all 80 novels which she wrote. And right now my daughter is reading all of them, right? I have a big library.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's just that, you disconnect from the day-to-day, very analytical world and look at how creative storytelling is done and, how pieces fall into together from a puzzle. And that's really exciting and interesting for me.
Okay. So you're making another person in your family who will going and reading all these books.
She's a big reader already.
Okay. That's good. And I think the kids inherit that from their parents only. So because usually we always, if we are always on our phone, they will also would want that. If we are on the books, then they will also want that. So that's an interesting one. Now you work a lot, right? And to unwind yourself from work, outside of reading these murder mystery novels, what else you do?
Yeah, I think I'm heavily into staying fit and exercising on a regular basis. So at least 6 times a week, I would definitely exercise.
Wow.
And I definitely prioritize and make sure, because if the engine is running, then you can work. Otherwise, you have a problem. So that's that. Apart from that, I think in the evenings, we would watch movies together or watch a stand-up comedy. But yeah, I think those are important things to keep balanced.
Good. If you have to pick up one brain, right, to discuss anything, whose brain that will be?
Yeah, I think I few years back, I read about this concept of a personal board of directors. Right? So which means that you should be surrounded by a number of different people who are very different to you, and you can learn from them. So I do have a good board of directors right now with me. So these are people who have been ex-managers or mentorships which I've cultivated over the last couple of years. And again, I'm grateful because all of them are very, very supportive. So they're just WhatsApp or a call away, and I can pick their brains on any of the topics I would want to cover, which is bothering me.
Nice. And that's just a good concept, right? Personal board of directors. I will try to build a board of directors around me as well because it's interesting. Though I have so many friends like you to whom I can go back anytime and discuss about things. But I think there is it's a good concept around it. So I will try to follow that. You also travel a lot because of business purposes and also for the private holidays and everything, right? So what you like most, beaches or hills? or history?
Hills.
Okay. And you go, you like traveling, like driving to that place, or taking a flight, and how you do it?
I mean, if it's within local reach, of course, drive.
Okay.
But yeah, flights are good as well. So
Nice, nice. One last question. You said you are into fitness, right? Any particular app which you use to track your fitness?
not really.
Not really.
Not really. I think I'm trying to keep it as non-digital as possible.
Okay.
Although Spotify is the favorite app, so I would listen to music while exercising, but not tracking anything.
Okay. And this is coming from a person who is developing AI ML products, right?
Yeah,
So that I don't want to be digital. So
Yeah.
so that's an interesting one. Thanks, Neeraj. Thanks for joining us for this great conversation. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks, Abhishek, for having me. And I think looking backwards, we never had these kinds of forums where you could learn from folks from the industry.
Yeah.
So you're doing a great job, and I think it's good to really pay back to the industry and to the upcoming sort of talent. So thank you so much for doing so.
Thanks, Neeraj. So this was our topic of AI ML products, and we had a chance to speak with Neeraj Gyani on this topic. What we discussed and what are the key three key learnings for me is one, you need to be a good problem solver to get into this AI ML product space. Second, you need to be a good storyteller. Third, you have to be strong in your technical skills. And as he said, you can have a T type of career, right? Where you have a depth in a one area and then you can understand of a lot of other areas. So guys, if you have any feedback, please write to us. You can reach out to us on Gmail, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you are really watching us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe so that we can reach to the broader audience. If you are listening to us on Spotify or any other audio platform, please follow us so that you can keep getting updates about our new episodes. So for a time being, I'm signing off from Wisdom Whispers with Abhishek Mittal. We'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you.